Matthew.
Jeff.
Okay.
Hello.
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 Are you okay? It sounds like you're down a well.
Kind of got a bit lost.
Do you need help? Do you want us to? Oh, there we go.
No.
Oh my God! Look at that setup. What a
Wow.
boy.
Hey.
Hello, Matthew. How are you doing today? We'll start the interview properly now. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good.
How's being in isolation doing for you?
Yeah, great for the mental patience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. To be honest, I spend most of my time indoors anyway, so
Right.
It doesn't really. Being quite happy just sitting in the house.
But I feel like it's part of that mental thing, isn't it? Though that when you're indoors all the time, but you know you can leave your house, and now you know that you can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I mean, this is the second time doing this now, so.
Now, Matthew, some people would call 2020 one of the worst years in humanity. I would say it's been all right, but 2020 has been a big year for you, music-wise.
Yeah. I guess I could say it was. It's been quite busy.
You've had 2 albums out and a handful of singles.
Certainly have.
How's that been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of been on the low down since releasing the Yes Plan album. I don't know. I kind of had a bit of I've had a lot of writer's block this year. I've had quite a busy year and a half. Did quite a lot in last year as well. So.
Well, yeah, 2019. What, 4 EPs in 1 year?
No, it was 3, I think. Oh well, technically, if you class Yes Plan. 4.
It is quite a lot. What made you choose releasing your work that year as 3 separate EPs than just one big boy album?
Well, I don't know. Because the first EP I kind of made in 2018, but kind of brought it out in April. And the second one was kind of just a compilation of other just various things I hadn't really done much with. Really, the end was only the proper one, the only proper art thing that I made in 2019. I don't know. I mean, they all I was kind of going for different things with each one.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have necessarily suited as being one big project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as well, your discography goes all the way back to 2016. You've very much so developed your sound, and you've sort of, you've improved with each release, but also you've sort of explored new soundscapes with each release. What's your process on choosing where you want to take your sound next?
It kind of comes from, I don't know, everything that I kind of take in, like movies, books, just stuff that I'm listening to. At the time, I'm kind of just going for somebody more talented and, better, has done better in the past.
So what sort of movies have influenced? Because obviously movie soundtracks. Yeah,
a lot of movie soundtracks. I don't know, stuff like Good Time. Good Time is a good soundtrack by One or Tricks Point Never. I don't know. I just kind of I go through stage. I listen to a lot of different kind of music.
Yeah, you listen
all
to
the genres. Everything. A bit of mixture of everything. So I guess
all the Tinder people say.
Yes. I listen to all music.
Any in particular? Any
genre music
that you stick to? You think mostly?
Oh, ambient, kind of electronic music, maybe indie.
So do you get influence from music? Do you get influence from other music as well as films and books, or is it mostly just from films and books that you kind of get your inspiration?
Oh no, I mean it's pretty much everything, but most of the time it is I'm going for a specific sound or an idea of how I want it to sound. It's funny though, because I start off with an idea, and then I start and I go, okay, this is cool. Then I'll leave it for a bit, then I come back and it's totally different, and the end product is always totally different to how I kind of wanted it to start. I think in my head I really want to be super ambient and droney and stuff, but then in the end it just ends up techno, and it's oh god, again.
So for Not This then, which is, I'd say it's quite dark in my opinion,
Yeah.
quite dark sounding, and in that way, I don't know, I just imagine it would fit a dark kind of film that was, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you aim with that project, and how did the finished product differ from your aim? Or do you feel as if you did it completely, you achieved what you aimed to do?
Yeah. I mean, I think Not This is actually probably the closest I've gotten to having a finished product where I'd kind of intended it, where I originally intended it to be.
Okay.
I don't know, because I'd started working on the Yes Plant stuff, and on Telephone, the middle bit where it's just screaming, I kind of really enjoyed the kind of like the distortion landscape, I guess, that I created. So I kind of wanted to delve deeper into noise and distortion, and just making something that sounds terrible.
Well, I think Not This is quite a unique release, because going back to the old Telephone thing, you can hear the hints of noise in it, but it's, compared to most noise, it's actually listenable.
Yeah.
And it's almost not like droning either, because it still feels quite song-like. I'm trying to remember the track off the top of my head. I can't, but it's the one where it's basically a drone track, but then you've got a sort of like high melody going throughout it, and it sort of feels a little bit more angelic.
Oh, it dropped on the floor. That's the one.
Yes, it dropped on the floor.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I worked a lot with like tape loops and stuff as well. Like where you open a cassette and you make like a loop with the tape, so it just continuously loops. And that was kind of. I mean, it's not really anything. I'd like to call myself. Well, I'd like to call it experimental music, but it isn't necessarily, because it's just stuff that people's done before.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily. I mean, I guess I'm experimenting with it, but it's not necessarily anything new.
Is the new technology you have access to a big part of what develops your sound?
I'd probably say it's more the old technology, really. A lot of this was just made with like. I
mean, like the technology you have that is new to you, not new in general.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, I do, and I do buy a lot of gear, so I guess like. Yeah, I mean, I started just with like a MIDI keyboard. It made music on the computer, and then kind of branched out into my like physical hardware. So I guess the way that you kind of go about making something on a computer as opposed to just like this is a bit different, because when you go to sit down on a computer, you have an eye. You kind of sit there and or I would just go to make a song, or a track. Well, on here, I just kind of go to have a play, and it kind of branches out from there. I mean, I think the way that I recorded Not This is a bit different than my previous releases, because it's more like a continuous kind of. It's a kind of a concept album, really.
Yeah.
Continuously flowing into each other, and I guess the way I kind of recorded it in that manner, kind of a lot of just one take.
Oh, you did all of Not This in one take?
No. Not in like one continuous 40-minute take, but it was like a lot of just kind of hitting record and letting it go where I wanted to. There wasn't necessarily as much forward planning as in the end. I mean, I kind of approach things differently depending on like the project. You can kind of like look back. The end, I kind of focused on melody, and there's quite a lot of focus on melody, where this I'm more in Not This, I focused on just the more soundscape and the sounds and the distortion and the noise. But yeah, I mean, going back to Joe's original question, I'd originally intended it to be very like noise heavy, and kind of I wanted to kind of get rid of any emotion in it.
Yeah.
But I kind of gave up on that. Music without emotion is pretty boring, or any sort of hint of melody.
It's like Imagine Dragons. With Not This especially, I think it stood out the most. But your titling process, what's What's with that? Because you've got quite unusual titles, and I think with Not This, as you said, with the emotional side, you can sort of pick up little bits. Like I don't remember leaving. It's quite a song that you would get kind of lost in.
Yeah.
So what is, and especially if you go all the way back in your discography, your sort of titling process stands out as one of your most unique elements to your music. So what's your sort of process behind it?
I don't know. I mean, I think most of the time, it's when I go to save the project, I kind of give it a name, what it sounds like in word terms.
So there's no deeper meaning at all.
Not with this one is even worse. I kind of just had a document full of potential song titles, and I just kind of. That's why I can't remember any of the names of the songs, because I named them at the very last minute. So there's no, apart from like a couple of them, like Tape Machine broke was because it was recorded directly onto a tape machine.
Did it break by any chance?
Sorry?
Did it break by any chance?
No, that one was perfectly working. It was more about another tape machine. Yeah.
Well, he's me thinking that there was some deeper meaning.
I mean, sometimes it has some deeper meaning, but you know.
So, did you make a song about a tape machine on a tape machine?
I mean, I guess you could say so.
So there you go. There's the deeper meaning.
That is a deeper meaning. Yeah.
I mean, there's some tracks like Generic Song by the Seaside. I feel like that title fitted perfectly.
Oh, well, yeah, because it's just sounds at the seaside.
Yeah. Did you do many sort of like field recordings then for Not This?
Not really. There is a couple. Obviously, there's the beach, as you said.
Is your mum shouting you in one of those songs as well? Did I pick that one up?
Oh no, that's my sister at the very end.
So what kind of equipment have you got there that we can see?
So I've got a Yamaha CS, just
a standard MIDI board, or is it?
Oh no, it's like it's a digital synthesizer, but it's like I've forgotten the word now. Well, it's essentially trying to be an analog synthesizer. It's digital. I've got a Behringer Model D, which is analog synthesizer. Got a couple of drum machines, sampler, another digital synthesizer, various effects pedals, tape machines, dictaphones, little micro cassette recorder. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So you create most of the sounds you've got in your music on your own with these synthesizers. I was going to ask you, are you using plugins at all?
No. I used to use plugins, but not anymore. I much prefer this. It's so much easier having something in front of you, as opposed to using the computer and stuff.
Does it have presets on the synthesizers, or is it all you messing about with it and coming up with the sounds yourself?
This is the only one that kind of has proper presets, but I don't necessarily. I used them at the beginning when I was just learning it. Now I just make my own. This one is just knobs, so I can just set it to what I want. I think once you learn how the synthesizer works, you don't necessarily need to have presets, because you just know by ear how to dial the sounds in
and make it how you want.
Yeah.
So how do you learn about all of that?
It's just through use. Use it until you realize.
So you are
use a manual and stuff as well.
Yeah. So you are experimenting with it in some way.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're currently in the middle of building your own synthesizer, aren't you?
Yeah, really? Yeah. I was doing that over lockdown. It's not finished yet, but modular synthesizer. How exciting!
Is that going to be the base for your next project then? The new piece of technology you've got at hand?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what I do next. I've got a couple things. I don't know. I always have like ideas of what I want the next thing that I want to do to sound, but I usually don't necessarily follow them through because I'm lazy.
What got you started and what got you interested in sort of making music?
Not entirely sure, to be honest. I've always kind of liked the piano. My granddad had an organ that I blew up when I was 12.
You blew up?
Kind of. I was going a bit because I was getting all the arpeggiators are going and stuff, and all the sound. It was like a Yamaha bloody two bed keyboard thing,
like an actual organ.
It wasn't like digital electronic organ, but yeah, I think a capacitor blew in it because there was just smoke everywhere. Actually, I think I've got a tape recording somewhere where it is actually exploding on the tape. You just hear like, and me going, "Oh no!" Kind of like really high pitched voice.
Fantastic.
I mean, it still worked actually afterwards, just probably not as well. I stopped using it after that. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of quite big into John Grant and stuff when I first started making it. So I kind of wanted to get into synthesizers and stuff. Thought they sounded cool.
Because John Grant, especially his early work, is quite synthesizer heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I said the first album is essentially just a rip off of his stuff and Radiohead. It's quite big into Kid A at the time. I don't know. I used to play the guitar ages ago, but I was not very good. What I like about the keyboard is it's all in front of you. You can see.
Yeah. Is there any other instruments you want to branch out into?
Not really. Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't mind playing like a wind instrument. That would be cool. Get like some more like because there's quite an earthy sound to wind. I don't know. I'm quite like lazy when it comes to learning stuff. I can get like really intensely into something, and then it just like slips away, and I lose all interest. This is probably the one thing that I've like stuck with.
Well, you mentioned John Grant and Radiohead there as sort of your beginning influences. What sort of artists are influencing you at the minute then?
I think one influence that was really kind of I thought was really cool recently was I think it's William Basinski or William Basinski. He's an American composer. He's quite famous for his series called the Destruction Loops or the Disintegration Loops. He works primarily with like tape loops and stuff. I think it's about 20 years old now. I think as tape ages, it like the magnetic strip on the tape kind of like flakes off and like deteriorates. So he had these like old tape loops, and he was like digitizing them, and he was finding that they just like fall apart, and like as it was like playing, you'd like hear it slowly deteriorate, the sound on the tape. Yeah, it's quite like drawn kind of stuff. It's quite nice, like the sound of destruction, I guess. Oh, baby.
We try and convince ourselves we're an album review show. Don't think we are anymore. I don't know what we are now. We're just cheese packet, I guess.
Yeah, packet of cheese.
Packet of cheese.
We define ourselves. We are what we are.
Hmm?
Yeah. We are what we are.
We are what we are.
Find us.
So what is your favourite album of all time then?
It's got to be Kid A. Kid A by Radiohead.
Would you say Tom York is obviously a big influence then? Or would you say it's other members of Radiohead?
I mean, it's fair to say that Tom York is it's the figurehead of Radiohead.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that all of them are really a canny bunch of guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of anti-Radiohead memes at the minute.
Yeah.
What's your favourite album of 2020? So, like, the album that's impacted you the most in 2020, but necessarily hasn't come from 2020, and your favourite album that's released in 2020?
I think the album that's impacted me the most is I think Brian Eno's first album. I don't know whether it's his first album. I don't know. I think it is. Here Come the Warm Jets by Eno.
Have you listened to Brian Eno's Music for Airports?
Yeah.
Because that's his sort of ambient sort of big piece, isn't it?
And thinking about albums that came out in 2020, I'm not even entirely sure, to be honest. Surely there's something that came out in 2020. My mind's gone blank. Angel Olsen's new album, which was kind of like a kind of demo pieces of All Mirrors. That was quite good.
All Mirrors, then your album of the year for 2019 as well. Then.
Yeah, I mean earlier on in the year I would have said it was Titanic Rising, but I think All Mirrors is low key the best album of 2019. Yeah.
Joe froze?
Oh no. Sorry, I was listening. I was listening. I was concentrating.
Your earlier work. Do you think you'll ever revisit it?
I don't know. There's like one or two tracks that I like. I still think are decent and stand the test of time. But I think I'd rather just leave it behind.
To collect internet dust, almost.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is quite embarrassingly bad.
I wouldn't say it was bad.
Good points to start off with, I guess. But yeah, I don't think I'd rather just make something new.
How's the ongoing global pandemic affected sort of the way you've approached music and made it, and just thought about it?
I couldn't necessarily say how it's affected my approach to music, like making music, because I haven't really made that much music since we entered lockdown. A lot of the stuff that I brought out was recorded before, so I guess that's necessarily applicable.
Why have you not made much music during lockdown? Because of writer's block?
Yeah, kind of. Just burn out, I guess.
So what do you feel like it's causing you writer's block then? And how do you get out of it?
I think it's going to be still stuck in it.
Yeah.
Is that the
I think it's just I was kind of coming off the back of a long run of projects, so I think it was kind of a needed break. I mean, I guess you once you step away from something, you kind of get a like.
It regains its freshness in some way.
Yeah, you get to see it in a different light. I mean, I think me and Jake had a similar thing with Yes Plant, because like you'll be working, on something like behind the scenes, and you'll like go through so many different like variations and progressions with a track or with an album. So like by the time that you release it, you've listened to it about 20 times. 30 times, 40 times. So you know exactly how it sounds. And then obviously the people who are going to listen to it for the first time have that kind of first introduction on kind of your last introduction, I guess. So stepping back, you kind of after a couple of months can see what was like good and bad, and maybe the things that you regret that didn't happen, or how it sounds.
My final question is, when listening to Not This, I got a lot of feeling of film scoring. I could hear it in a film. I think I was telling Jake, I had it on in the background one time, and I was listening to it playing UFC, and it was the point of someone got knocked out, and it's Anderson Silva, who's really famous, in the past has been famous, and he's on a decline right now. And it's which one is it again? I was listening to. It dropped on the floor, and it's the really. It's the, I don't know if drone is the right word. I can't think of the word for it, but it reminded me of the point where you would have him talking about his loss and so forth. So it reminded me a lot of music for a film, and so that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
So would you in the future be thinking about scoring films in some way, or is that not the aim in which you want to go? Do you want the visuality of your music to come out in the music? And do you feel as if it doesn't need a partner to it in some way?
No.
I think I just asked a load of questions.
No. Yeah, I mean, I would say my music probably. I mean, I have been featured in a few soundtracks just by a friend. Yeah, I'd be interested in doing scores for things. So if any budding film producers need a very cheap soundtracker.
Yeah.
I think I always kind of enjoy, I think that's one of the most important things about film is the soundtrack and how the sound can shape a scene and stuff.
Yes, plant. Yes, plant. Where does the name come from?
I mean, I don't really want to, it is a take on words. It is it is the anti to No Rose.
What's No Rose?
It is a hit indie band from our pride and home and glory and place of Sunderland. No yet released tracks. We surely did beat them to the post.
No even official songs.
No, I don't think so. But I wasn't there at the first and only gig.
It was all covers. I can tell you from being there, it was just all covers.
Oh yeah, it was a cover.
No Rose.
It was Jacobs and someone else's duet band.
Oh right, okay.
And that's where the name Yes Plant comes from.
Creating a rivalry from the start.
Yeah. You got to tackle it head on sometimes.
Yeah, you just went straight into war. Straight in.
What was your original inspiration for the original EP?
I kind of wanted to. It's kind of like anti-pop music, I guess. Oh, it is a Mickey take of pop music.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Just trying to make the most bog standard thing.
I think when it comes to coming back to it, I feel like my parts mainly came through the anti-pop and the creepiness through my writing, but yours, it was definitely the production and the sound. What path did you go down against the sounds that you did for stuff like Telephone? That is like so abstract and abrasive, and so, as you said, anti-pop.
Not entirely sure. I think I was just trying my very hardest to make it as difficult to listen to as possible, especially with Telephone. It was kind of like... thing
is, my ears have become numb to the screaming in the middle. I don't even pick it up most of the time now.
Yeah, it definitely starts to flow over you after the 10th listen.
Yeah.
Just kind of like blank it out. But I mean, I think that kind of like adds to the impact of the song. You kind of like it's like a roller coaster, really.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get like taken off the roller coaster and like thrown in a... Oh no, actually no. I'd probably say it's more like a kind of like a rafty kind of, where lazy. Do you know in the lazy pools where you're like sitting in like an inflatable ring? It's kind of like hip hop inflatable ring. Then you get like kidnapped by like two burly men, thrown in the back of a Jeep, and
what are you talking about?
I'm not entirely sure. And then you're in heaven. Really, that's the ending.
Yeah, I imagine you're in a jazz cafe at the end of it.
At the end, yeah.
I don't know.
Reminiscing about your past times.
Yeah. The ending of Telephone is really good. I really like the ending of Telephone.
Yeah, I think I'd nailed it, if I can say so myself.
I think that you say that you made like sort of pop music that's like taking the mick out pop music, but A Country Drive does work as a really strong electronic singer-songwriter piece.
Oh well, yeah. Yeah, it was just one of those, when you just come up with a really good like hook and you just milk it.
I mean, the album was weird because, as we said, at one point it was like
it was a lot more
track album, and it got squashed down to 7 tracks. So, what's next for you?
The open road, baby. I don't know. I mean, I want to delve deeper into tape and making longer, continuous pieces.
Anyway, yes.
You
Matthew,
know.
thanks for coming on. Thanks for letting us interview you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, this is either going to be amazing or really, really bad. That's that.
Mint. Awesome. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine it would be much better in real life, but unfortunately, I'll look through Zoom.